Welcome back to 5 Acre Farms. I'm Luke.
I'm Caitlin.
You don't even have a mic on.
Oh.
She doesn't need to talk anyway. That's Caitlin. Today is not a chicken video, even though you guys are mostly chicken people. But like you see in the bee videos, we do more than just chickens. So today we got to plant a bunch of trees. So we ordered these from Stone Creek Nursery? I don't know. I'll have to put that somewhere else in the video or link them down below. I guess I won't link them unless they actually make it. But we got, if you buy trees, they get cheaper the more you buy. So next thing you know, we're buying 400 trees. So we have 100 hybrid poplars. If you don't know anything about hybrid poplar, they're extremely fast growing. They don't really do much besides grow fast and make shade, which is the purpose of why I bought them. If you don't notice, we're out here in Kansas where there's not a whole lot of trees. So these are going to be great shade trees. We're going to put them, the property we're on here is right next to our 5 acre farm. We don't own this. This is about 155 acres. The landowners let us do whatever we want with it. We've been leasing it for hunting and other things for the last 4 or 5 years. And this is the first year we are going to enhance it. I think it's a long-term place for us to be able to utilize. So what better way to plant some trees? We plan on living in our house for the rest of our life. So having this property right next to ours, we can get over here and water trees. Eventually we're gonna move our cows over here and be able to graze them. But we wanna put up some shade trees for the cows. So in the next 10 to 15 years, there'll be plenty of shade. The next trees, we got 100 of those. The next trees we got are tulip poplars. So tulip poplars, they're a blooming tree. So they put on a lot of nectar for bees. That's the main reason we bought them. We got 100 of those. We have 100 sawtooth oaks, which are one of my favorite. They're a fast growing oak tree. They're putting acorns on, it's been 5 to 7 years. So these are mainly just for deer. So we're gonna plant them. We're gonna plant everything in rows for the most part. And hopefully in 10 years, I'm gonna shoot a deer over these trees. And then we got some little cedar trees. These are tiny, but we're gonna use these for wind blocks in the future and pheasant cover and ground nesting bird cover, and they can use these to hide in, get out of the snow, get out of the rain, and they make great wind blocks. So as long as they're planted with a purpose, cedar trees can be a good tool as long as you don't let them get out of control. So, am I missing anything? 1, 2, 3, 4 different kinds of trees, 100 trees a piece, 400 trees. This is not going to be a couple hour project. This is going to be a several day project. So this will consume a lot of our time this summer watering trees. We're not going to put weed fabric down or cages down or anything to prevent deer from chewing on them. It just gets really expensive to do 400 trees with cages, weed mats, or tree tubes. So we're just going to stick them in the ground and water them once a week or twice a week or as often as we can, especially as it gets warmer. So this video is probably going to be a lot of time lapse and planting trees, because that's what we're doing here on the farm today, and we're filming what we do every day, just for you guys. Not every day do we deal with chicken. We deal with chickens every day, but we got to do other stuff besides just chickens. So we're going to plant a couple of trees here, because this is going to be our winter pasture for the cows. So we want to add a few trees. There's a little bit of elms over here. Once we put the cows in here, we'll probably put cages around these 3 or 4 trees, just so the cows don't mess with them until they get too big. I wouldn't mind if the cows tear up those elm trees, because elms are terrible, but they will provide shade as well. So, all right, we're gonna get to work, unfortunately. Well, you guys probably can't really see the flags, but there's probably a good thing you can't see the flags, because my straight line is very straight. So purpose isn't to be perfect. Purpose is to be shade trees, wind block, etc. So I'll come back and till up the road in between. We ended up doing 2 rows. That way we could drive down the middle, and we got 100 trees. So probably gonna plant a dozen or so in pots, just in case some of these don't make it. Then we have some we can bring out here and transplant. But there's roughly 50 there. We still have another 50, so we may go make another row down here at the 5-acre mark. So we have 80 acres of tillable ground. Our plan is to break it up into 10 or 8 10-acre fields, and each 10-acre field is different. So I think I'll split this one in half and do 2 5-acre fields up here, because it's going to be close to the winter pasture. So during the winter, if I plant some winter wheat or some cover crop or something, I can graze the cows right off the winter paddock. That's the theory. So let's go plant some more trees. So these are what's called bare root, which means they just come with already established root system. They're cut and then probably started in water and root stimulator until the roots take off, and then they stick them in the ground, get you 3 or 4 feet, and then pull them out and mail them like this. So they don't have any leaves on them because they came from up north and they probably haven't started budding out yet. So perfect straight line. I know, no GPS, no nothing. I'm just that good. But I'm taking a spade. I worked this ground a week or 2 ago, so that really helps being able to do this. But I'm just putting a crack in the surface like that, dropping it in, making sure all the roots are below, and then bringing it back up to where, so all the roots are just below the surface. And then I'm trying to make a little bowl around it, so when we go to water it, it'll all filter down to the base. And then red flag means hybrid poplar. So that's 100 trees. Took us about 2 hours, roughly. 300 more to go. Try to get another 100 done today, and then maybe tomorrow we'll do the other 200. We have some graduation parties and stuff to attend tonight. But hybrid poplar are great for shade. They grow really fast, which is the whole purpose of buying them. I think we got them for $1 or $2 a piece. I can't remember. So if they don't make it, I'm not out a ton of money. The smaller you buy them, the cheaper they get. Obviously, we all want to plant 8-foot trees, but that's just not financially feasible, because if they die, then you're out a ton of money. These are the way to go. Buy bare roots and get them in the spring. If you can get them in earlier than now, is better. But this is when they shipped them to us, so this is when we got them. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna rototill this road in between them, so we can I can sit on the back with a 80-gallon water tank and a hose, and just drive down, put about 1 gallon of water on each tree, or half a gallon once or twice a week, until they bud out, leaf out, and start going. We're calling for rain tonight, tomorrow, and Monday night, so 3 nights in a row. So hopefully that'll make the ground good and wet for these trees to get a good head start. So we're gonna go figure out what we're gonna plant next. Maybe the tulip poplars is a good choice. Next up, we're gonna do sawtooth oaks. One of my life goals is to plant a tree and then shoot a deer out of said tree. So I don't know if the hybrid poplar is going to be the one to do it. I doubt a sawtooth is going to get big enough in my lifetime to sit in it. Maybe 1 year. Maybe someday my child will watch this video and be like, "Oh, Dad or Grandpa shot a deer out of this tree right here I'm holding." Doubtful. It's hard to make a tree planting video interesting, so bear with us here. But this is essentially stuff we do on a daily basis, is random stuff like plant trees. So I don't know if you want me to do a dance, a tree planting dance to make it interesting. Most of you have probably already stopped watching the video by now. But behind me is a wheat field we planted, or I planted, last September. My neighbor has all the big green equipment with GPS. So nobody can complain about my perfectly straight line on this one. But in theory, after this wheat's cut, we're gonna plant alfalfa here, 10 acres of alfalfa, and then over here, 10 acres of clover. So most of our bee boxes are gonna be in this area. And then we're gonna plant the poplars on the other side of the clover. So, and I'm gonna put a deer blind right here. So I have clover, alfalfa, and sawtooth oaks. And hopefully in the future, deer from the whole county will come to this area in the winter. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll plant a strip of corn next to these trees or something just to have more food. But deer like alfalfa and clover in the fall and winter, so hopefully this will be a spot to attract deer, and we'll be able to bring all bee boxes out here. Once we have 20 acres of essentially blooms plus trees blooming, who knows, we could get up to 20 or 30 boxes and have enough honey to feed the world. I don't know. Planting trees is boring, so let's what color flag do we want to make these? Yellow. Fun fact about me, yellow is my favorite color. So I planted sawtooth oaks last year in pots, and I'm tired of planting in pots because then you just got to replant them eventually. So these puppies are going straight in the ground, and I've always liked sawtooth oaks because they're the fastest growing oak tree to put on a hard mass fruit. So yellow it is. And I'm gonna probably get off this weed a little bit because when I'm running the combine through here, I don't want to be mowing down all my freshly planted trees. All right, inward and onward. I won't bore you with more time lapses. 100 sawtooth oaks. We went with 3 rows here just because I didn't want to put a single row somewhere else, with the hopes that, like, if they do all make it, the deer aren't hitting a row of trees somewhere besides right here. And who knows, we may plant some rows of apples and it may throw this whole game plan off, because apples bloom and bees like apples, and so do deer. But 100 sawtooth oaks in the ground, ready for water, and we'll sprinkle a little tree fertilizer on them when we come back to water everything. But that's it for today. We got to go do chores and get a bunch of other stuff done, and we'll plant the other 200 tomorrow, the tulip, poplars, and the cedar trees. So we'll see you tomorrow. It's the next day. We didn't bore you with planting another 100 trees because I feel like that's all we do anymore is plant trees. So planted 100 tulip poplars. We did it in 3 rows, about 33 trees in each row. Like I said, the reason we put them here is because this 10 acres to my left here is going to be clover, and then where the wheat is over there, that 10 acres is going to be alfalfa. So in the future, we're going to be able to have all of our beehives right here, access to a blooming tree, blooming clover, blooming alfalfa, so they won't have to fly very far to get nectar and pollen. So 100 trees down. We're supposed to get rain tonight, severe weather. Hopefully we just get a couple inches of rain, no hail, no tornadoes like it's calling. But the ground has moisture. Let me see if I can't show it here. So even at a couple inches down, you can tell this is pretty much straight sand. But these roots will be able to really expand really quick in this sand. They're not working with any clay. We're pretty much all sand. Downside with sand is it drains real fast. Good side and downside is it drains fast. But the downside is usually it doesn't retain moisture. But the fact that we're have moisture just a few inches down and we haven't had rain in 2 weeks, It gives me hope that if we can get a couple good rains on these, that'll help us cut back on our time we have to spend watering these every week. So that's the thought process. We're gonna go with it. Some of these little tulip trees are blooming or are budding out already, and they're at about 1.5 feet tall. So if we get some good rains, and I'm gonna go back and sprinkle some slow release fertilizer on them, hopefully today before the rain starts, and hopefully they'll take off and provide a ton of blooms for our bees in the future. So next up to plant is our little cedar trees. We're going to plant these over here in our CRP fields. These are pretty much just for wind blocks for wildlife, shade for wildlife, a place for pheasants and quail and ground nesting birds to get away from aerial predators. Like I said, we're going to do them in clumps of 5 or so, and we got roughly 80 acres of grass. So we got the downside is that ground's going to be a lot harder to plant in. The good side is they're a lot smaller trees, so we don't have to go as deep. Thankfully, I worked this ground about a week or 2 weeks ago, so it's real soft and it's straight sand. So, all right, let's go plant some cedar trees. There you have it, a little cedar tree. Surprisingly, they have a pretty impressive root system for being 5 inches tall. Probably got 10 inches of roots. So we're out here in the CRP grass. This is not in a CRP program, so we can kind of do whatever we want with it. If you look down this way, you can see our mowed strip. We keep this strip mowed right down the middle. That way when we hunt, we can hunt both sides. We pheasant hunt these fields. So we can walk all the way down and turn around and walk all the way back and have a mowed strip in between us. But we're planting these trees right along the mowed path, mainly so if we do need to water them, we have a mowed path to just water off of. But we're trying to encourage the birds that are in this field to stay toward the middle of the field with these cedar trees. That way they aren't out on the edge where predators can get them. And but we're only doing in clumps of 5 on each side, so essentially 2 rows of 5 on each side of the mowed path, and then we'll go down about a 1/4 mile and do the same thing, and then down toward the end and do the same thing, and then on the other side of the work ground we'll do essentially the same thing. Don't mind the wind noise you're probably hearing, but like I said, the good thing about, if you can see down here, we just took that spade shovel and put a slice into the ground, and all this grass keeps the sunlight off of the ground, so it holds moisture a lot better down here. Just a couple inches down we have moisture. Even right here at the surface, you can see right here, we're right at the surface and there's moisture in there. Now we haven't had rain for 2 weeks, and it's been in the 80s and 90s this week. So if we get a rain tonight or in the next couple days, we may not have to water these guys all summer. This ground just holds moisture so well with this, using kind of this grass as a cover crop. Hopefully it doesn't choke them out, but cedar trees are really resilient, so they can grow anywhere. So hopefully this works out. These things are only like $1 a piece, so if these help wildlife for the next 30 years, that's a $100 investment I'll take any day. So I guess we'll hop down, maybe set you up on a time lapse for the next one. Planting trees is boring, but this is the things we do. We try to do kind of a daily vlog style video slash, I know we do a lot of chicken content, but this is something we do outside of chickens, is to run a farm and manage wildlife and leave the ground and better than we have it for future generations. So planting trees, we're planning on planting 400 trees a year, so one step, year number 1, we're probably all gonna die, and then every year we still get to plant 400 trees. They just all die every year. I'm not an arborist, I'm a chicken farmer. These guys are getting the white flags so we can see them in the grass better. Down to the last 24 trees, so I think we'll end up putting them in groups of 6. So 4 groups of 6. So, yay. But running along the mowed path here, we only got a few more left to do, and then we'll be done for the day for this year.
400 trees.
400 trees. We're going to save a couple of the tulip poplars and plant them at the house, even though I've already planted 2 bigger ones this year. Then we have 3 little leaf lindens, which are a blooming tree we're going to plant there at the house too. So once they bud out, we'll get them in the ground. All about trees, all about planting for the future. Well guys, 400 trees are in the ground. I know we didn't film every single tree, but take our word for it. We bought 400 trees, put them all in the ground, except for these last couple we'll put at the house. But that's all I have for today's video. If you got any questions about what kind of trees or why we chose trees, or if you want to see more tree planting, which probably nobody wants to see, but it's what we do. I mean, we're trying to show you guys what we do. Obviously this isn't on our 5 acres, but this is acreage next to our house that we get to have access to manage and to grow. Maybe someday down the road, if we get the opportunity to own it, that'd be awesome. If not, we'll still get to use it for hunting and for running our cows over here, and we got plans to move some chickens over here. You never know. You'd be nice to the landowners and they could take care of you. It just goes to show that, like, you can run livestock on ground you can't own as long as you take care of the ground. So other than that, you know the deal. We love you guys. Don't haggle with your egg supplier. Don't haggle with your tree supplier. All that fun stuff. We got a storm coming. We gotta go button down all the chickens, get all the chores done. Calling for tennis ball size hail and severe tornadoes tonight. Hopefully we just get the rain. So, other than that, we'll see you guys on the next one.